Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the final segment with Mbuyiseni, Quinton Lozi. And before we went into the break, we were speaking about testing the South African political system, the legal system, and of course our leaders to see if we can do the right thing when it comes to the Obama docket. But with that, Mbuyiseni, there is an obvious question that no US president is elected without the support of the Zionist lobby. So do you find that the Zionist lobby is infiltrating into South Africa as well in terms of the way politics is played out? I mean, of course, if you look at certain actions. And my question then to you also would be that why should South Africans, all of us, boycott BDS and demonstrate against Obama?
No, the Zionist lobby is not infiltrating South Africa. It's always been part of the South African political scene. Zionism in South Africa was part of the apartheid regime. It benefited from the South African apartheid regime. It's benefiting from the Israeli apartheid regime. And as a world federation itself, it's particularly represented by the continuous existence of Israel. The United States is fully much in support of them, and they've been very critical in maintaining them in the world. In South Africa, their political representatives and is the DA. And I think that the DA's attempts to award Obama the Order of the City is to try and basically reward him for not condemning Palestine, for not condemning Israel, for not taking the type of strong decisions that he had planned to do, for an example, around Guantanamo Bay, is to award him basically that in South Africa we are happy with your performance that has not condemned and pushed Israel towards the racist regime and the type of implications that should come out of that. And so, of course, I mean, and I think that it represents the weakness itself of the American democratic system, or the system of democratic elections. But our opposition as well, and I think it's important to emphasize this, we are opposed completely to what the DA is trying to do in terms of awarding Obama this Order of the City, not in our name, not on our watch.
And what about boycotting Israel, as well as demonstrating against Obama, which is the march that you have planned for Friday? Yes.
The march is consistent. That's what happened in the days of apartheid. You boycott a self-confessed regime of apartheid. The regimes that are supporting it, you try to make them boycott it. So our point here is to antagonize. And this antagonism works both within South Africa's government itself, but it's going to sensitize the American population that there is real movements around support of oppressed peoples of the world, and they need to get the United States withdrawing its financial, diplomatic, and all types of political support from the regimes like Israel, but also to correct its actions with regards to Cuba, Colombia, the environment, trade policies, its companies that are eating everything in the continent.
And most specifically, of course, the extrajudicial killings, the use of drones, etc., which is occurring in target assassinations. And if you look at that, it's the same kind of actions that Israel employs. Now, both these states break international law with impunity. And you see that the Pakistan High Court has defined these drone strikes as illegal. There have been anti-drone marches in Washington just this last week. And yet the murders continue from this regime. And of course, Obama has been called a murderer by Americans themselves. As we play out, we will show you the video by Jeremy Scahill, the author of Dirty Wars, where he calls Obama a murderer. Yet South Africans want to give him an honorary doctorate, want to give him an honor for the freedom of the city. I mean, that is surely something to scream about. So as a final thought, perhaps you would like to leave the viewers with a message about the demonstration, let them know where it is, when it's taking place, and why it's so important to participate.
Well, it's important to participate if we care about the ways in which the world is running. We are global citizens, and we are beneficiaries ourselves of great international solidarity. There's a big march in Pretoria from Union Building at 10 o'clock to the US Embassy. Everyone is invited. In fact, we're saying that the mosques around Pretoria must close. They must come and pray from the picket lines, like the Egyptians did in Tahrir Square. It's time to really raise the profile of the struggles of the peoples of the world. We must show really, in terms of warm bodies on these lines. In Soweto, The UJ will be giving the graduation ceremony on Saturday next week, which is the 29th. We're going to shut down Soweto. We're going to give Obama 1976.2.
Inshallah.
Not in our name, not through the value and the symbolism of our struggles.
And not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
As Albert Einstein said, if you have the privilege to know, you have the duty to act. And so we'd like to thank you very much. And before we close the program, we are going to show you a short video clip by Jeremy Scahill, where he speaks about the drone attacks, and he concludes that Obama is a murderer. Can we then be quiet when a murderer like this comes to our land and claims honorary status? So, fi amanillah, enjoy the video, and thank you very much for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Piece details the president's role in regular Tuesday counterterrorism meetings in the White House Situation Room, where he pores over suspected terrorist bios and decide whose death to order next. And there's this. Quote, Mr. Obama embraced a disputed method for counting civilian casualties that did little to box him in. It, in effect, counts all military-age males in a strike zone as combatants, according to several administration officials, unless there is explicit intelligence posthumously proving them innocent.
It would be and is a severe violation of human rights law as well as the laws of war for the administration to kill people that it might otherwise be able to detain. We have had a program that was begun under the Bush administration but vastly expanded and accelerated by the Obama administration. And this is a program in which the executive branch, the president, claims the authority to unilaterally declare people enemies of the state, including U.S. citizens, and order their killing based on secret legal criteria, secret process, and secret evidence. There is no national security policy that poses a graver threat to human rights law and civil liberties than this policy today.
President Obama authorized his first known drone strike 3 days after taking office, as he was announcing this radical shift from the Bush-era doctrine of preventive and preemptive war. President Obama is running an assassination program where, in a 2-week span in Yemen, he killed 3 U.S. citizens, none of whom have been indicted or charged with any crime. And Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki, a 16-year-old U.S. citizen, whose only crime appears to have been that his last name was al-Awlaki, was murdered in a U.S. strike. And there has been no explanation as to why a 16-year-old U.S. citizen was killed. There is no indication that any suspected militants were killed. There's no indication that any known al-Qaeda figures were killed. That family deserves an explanation. The American people deserve an explanation. The most dangerous thing I think the U.S. is doing, besides murdering innocent people in many cases, is giving people in Yemen or Somalia or Pakistan a non-ideological reason to hate the United States, to want to fight the United States. Non-ideological reasons, meaning personal vendetta, is much more powerful than we hate your McDonald's, we hate your freedom, we hate your Christianity. That's real.
In fact, I can say that the types of operations that the U.S. has been involved in the counterterrorism realm, that nearly for the past year there hasn't been a single collateral death because of the exceptional proficiency, precision of the capabilities that we've been able to develop.
That's one of the chief counterterrorism advisors to President Obama, John Brennan. Here's PBS did a frontline documentary on al-Qaeda in Yemen. Again, Jeremy, you just got back from there, been doing reporting on it. And here's a reporter pointing to where the American citizen son of Anwar al-Awlaki, a 16-year-old boy who was from Denver, was killed. Take a look.
These are the spots where the son of the American preacher, Anwar al-Awlaki, was killed. His son and 8 of his friends were sitting in this place having dinner, and they were targeted by one rocket here, another rocket there, if you see this big circle, targeted them, and then another rocket beyond this area. They say it's an American targeted killing for an American citizen, of course.
Jeremy, you used the word murder before when you talked about the people who have been killed by these strikes who are not combatants, we can establish. And obviously that's a loaded word because it carries certain moral and legal ramifications. Why do you use that word?
If someone goes into a shopping mall in pursuit of one of their enemies and opens fire on a crowd of people and guns down a bunch of innocent people in a shopping mall, they've murdered those people. When the Obama administration sets a policy where patterns of life are enough of a green light to drop missiles on people or to use, to send in AC-130s to spray them down.
But that wasn't the case here. You're talking about a targeted person here.
No. That's not. But if you go to the village of Al-Majla in Yemen, where I was, and you see the unexploded cluster bombs, and you have the list and photographic evidence, as I do, of the women and children that represented the vast majority of the deaths in this first strike that Obama authorized on Yemen, those people were murdered by President Obama on his orders because there was believed to be someone from al-Qaeda in that area. There's only one person that's been identified that had any connection to al-Qaeda there, and 21 women and 14 children were killed in that strike. And the U.S. tried to cover it up and say it was a Yemeni strike, and we know from the WikiLeaks cables that David Petraeus conspired with the president of Yemen to lie to the world about who did that bombing. It's murder it's mass murder when you say we are going to bomb this area because we believe a terrorist is there, and you know that women and children are in the area. The United States has an obligation to not bomb that area if they believe that women and children are there. I'm sorry, that's murder. Is that our policy is actually giving a greater incentive to people to become terrorists or to become insurgents or to become rebels against the United States.